You're not reaching your potential because you're solving the wrong problem. While you're busy collecting certifications and attending workshops, your actual limitation is hiding in plain sight, and it's costing you opportunities daily. The average professional wastes 70% of their natural talent due to self-imposed mental boundaries. These aren't the limitations you were born with. They're the ones you've been programmed to accept. Today, I'm going to show you a 10-minute exercise that cuts through years of conditioning and reveals capabilities you've always had but never accessed. What if I told you the glass ceiling in your career isn't made of corporate politics or market competition, but of invisible stories running in the background of your mind? These aren't just any stories. They're carefully crafted myths that have been programmed into your thinking since your earliest days in school, reinforced by well-meaning mentors, and cemented by workplace cultures that benefit from your limited self-perception. Let me be direct. Most ambitious professionals operate under three devastating career myths that create an invisible ceiling on their growth potential. The insidious part, these myths don't feel like limitations, they feel like wisdom. They masquerade as practical advice and common sense, which makes them nearly impossible to detect without deliberate examination. The first myth is perhaps the most damaging: the belief that your potential is fixed at birth, a predetermined capacity that you simply cannot exceed. This myth suggests that you were born with certain talents and limitations, and your life is merely the process of discovering these boundaries rather than creating possibilities. It's the quiet voice that whispers, "That's not for people like you," when opportunity knocks. But the science tells a radically different story. Neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to form new neural connections, remains active throughout your entire life. Groundbreaking study from the Harvard Center for Brain Science demonstrated that adults who believed their abilities were developable showed significantly more neural growth after challenges than those who believed their talents were fixed. Your brain isn't a static organ. It's constantly rebuilding itself based on your experiences and, crucially, your beliefs about those experiences. When you accept this fixed potential myth, it began unconsciously filtering the world through its lens. Job opportunities that seem beyond your level get dismissed before you even apply. Conversations that could open new doors never happen because you've predetermined they're not for you. The limitation isn't in your capabilities. It's in the filter through which you're viewing possibilities. The second myth suggests that continuous skill acquisition is the primary path to advancement. This leads to credential collecting and certification chasing, the professional equivalent of hoarding. Yet research from the Corporate Executive Board found that the average professional uses less than 30% of their existing capabilities in their current role. The problem isn't a lack of skills, it's a lack of strategic deployment of the abilities you already possess. I've worked with clients who have master's degrees gathering dust while they struggle with imposter syndrome. They keep adding more certifications to their LinkedIn profiles while their unique combination of existing skills, the real source of their potential value, remains untapped and unrecognized, even by themselves. The third myth promotes constant hustle as the key to success. The glorification of 80-hour work weeks and perpetual busyness. This myth has created generations of professionals who equate exhaustion with achievement. The data tells a different story. Fine. A 5-year study by management researchers at Columbia University found that strategic focus on leverage points produces 5 times better results. This 70% less effort compared to the brute force approach of working longer hours. These myths create a psychological trap with devastating consequences. The more you try to improve through conventional methods, the deeper you reinforce the underlying limiting beliefs. Each new course that doesn't transform your career reinforces the idea that maybe you just don't have what it takes. Each 80-hour work week that doesn't lead to promotion suggests that perhaps you're simply not working hard enough. The system is designed to keep you doubting yourself rather than questioning the system. Here's a liberating truth. Your potential isn't determined by what you need to learn. It's limited by what you need to unlearn. The most Significant career breakthroughs come not from acquiring more credentials, but from dismantling these myths that have hijacked your perspective on what's possible. I've seen executives transform their careers in weeks, not by adding new skills, but by removing the artificial constraints they'd placed on existing abilities. A marketing director who believed she wasn't strategic enough for C-suite roles discovered that her problem-solving approach was actually more innovative than her peers' ones. She stopped filtering her ideas through her limiting self-perception. The question isn't whether you have untapped potential. The neuroscience is clear that you do. The real question is how quickly you can access it once you recognize what's actually been holding you back all along. Recognizing what's holding you back is only half the equation. The other half is implementing a system to bypass these limitations entirely. Consider this: the most successful professionals aren't necessarily more talented. They've simply installed a different operating system, one that automatically identifies their unique leverage points instead of reinforcing artificial limitations. This isn't about adding another productivity hack to your already overwhelming schedule. It's about a fundamental reconfiguration that takes less time than your morning coffee ritual. Traditional approaches to career advancement have failed spectacularly because they focus on the wrong targets. Leadership programs, productivity systems, and personal development courses typically address symptoms: procrastination, imposter syndrome, or communication skills, rather than the underlying neural architecture creating these limitations in the first place. Like trying to fix software bugs by replacing your computer monitor. You're addressing the wrong part of the system. The 10-minute solution works because it targets the brain's neuroplasticity with surgical precision, activating 3 specific neurological triggers that unlock dormant capabilities you already possess. When MIT neuroscientists studied high performers across industries, they discovered that these individuals weren't working harder. They had developed unconscious mental frameworks that automatically deployed their existing abilities more effectively. The difference wasn't in what they knew, but in how their brains accessed what they already knew. The first neurological trigger, pattern interruption, works by temporarily suspending your brain's habitual filtering system. Every day, your brain processes approximately 11 million bits of information, but consciously registers only about 40 bits. The filtering happens through established neural pathways that automatically screen career opportunities and performance possibilities based on outdated self-perceptions. The pattern interruption question: what would I attempt today if I knew I couldn't permanently fail? Forces your brain to temporarily suspend these filters, is revealing options your mind typically dismisses before they even reach your awareness. Identity recalibration, the second trigger, addresses what psychologists call identity homeostasis, your brain's fierce protection of your self-concept, even when that self-concept limits you. When Stanford psychologists tracked 1,200 professionals over a 7-year period, they found that people who made significant career advancements first experienced shifts in how they defined themselves, not just in what they could do. The recalibration question, who would I need to become to achieve what I want, creates a temporary opening where your brain can try on new identities without triggering the protective mechanisms that normally shut down change. The third trigger, leverage identification, activates what business strategists call asymmetric advantages, unique combinations of strengths that create disproportionate results. Unlike traditional strength assessments that categorize your abilities in isolation, leverage identification reveals the synergies between your capabilities. The simple question, what creates value when I do it but would take others twice the effort, bypasses your conscious self-limiting beliefs and accesses the pattern recognition capabilities of your subconscious mind. This reveals your unique value proposition, the professional equivalent of a chess player, identifying their best possible move. When you integrate these 3 questions into a daily 10-minute practice, You're not just temporarily thinking differently. You're literally rewiring your neural pathways. UCLA brain imaging studies have shown that targeted mental exercises performed consistently for just 8 to 12 minutes daily create measurable changes in neural connectivity within 21 days. The compound effect is similar to financial investments, small daily deposits creating exponential returns over time. What makes this approach revolutionary isn't that it takes so little time. It's that it works in reverse rather than adding more knowledge or skills to an already overwhelmed system. It removes the artificial constraints your mind has placed on your existing abilities. It's the equivalent of discovering you've been driving with the parking brake on. The power was always there, but a simple mechanism was preventing its full expression. Professionals who've implemented this 10-minute practice report 3 consistent outcomes. First, they experience what psychologists call spontaneous capability expansion, suddenly performing at levels they previously considered beyond their abilities. Second, they notice opportunities that were literally invisible to them before. And third, they begin making decisions with a clarity and confidence that transforms how others perceive them in the workplace. We've reached the end of our journey together, but it's really just the beginning of yours. The greatest irony of career development is that we're trained to constantly accumulate skills, credentials, experiences, when true breakthrough happens through removal, not addition. The worksheet in the description isn't just another task on your to-do list. It's a precision tool designed to eliminate the invisible walls your mind has constructed. 10 minutes. That's the investment I'm asking you to make. Your untapped capabilities aren't waiting to be created. They're waiting to be discovered. The distance between your current reality and your potential isn't measured in years, but in mindset shifts.